And welcome back. And you would have heard in our previous interview with Ms. Memela from SASSA talking about food parcel and food parcel distribution. And on that score, we go to the Western Cape now, where the South African National Civics Organization, or SANCO, says that they know the identity of the person whose voice can be heard on a leaked WhatsApp voice note, giving orders to sideline community members from receiving food hampers. Now, the WhatsApp message allegedly orders that food parcels only be given to those residents affiliated to SANCO. And the organization says that it condemns these views shared by its member, whose name is not mentioned in the statement, however. But the incident took place amid existing fears of corruption, abuse of power and mismanagement of resources. And of course, those food parcels meant for the most needy in this country. Bongikhaya Qhama, he is the provincial chair of SANCO in the Western Cape, joins us now telephonically to speak about these developments. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Bongikhaya, so your organization has managed to track down the person whose voice is heard on that audio clip saying that food parcels should only be distributed to people affiliated to SANCO. What do they have to say for themselves?
First and foremost, for now, we can agree that it is still an investigation that must take place. We have actually directed the Provincial Secretary of SANCO in the Western Cape to investigate and give a detailed report about what transpired. Secondly, to issue a correspondence which went out on the 27th of April 2020 against any improper use of the name of the organization for personal gain. And lastly, a meeting will be convened, of course, a virtual meeting, to get a full brief about what transpired, and then from there we'll be able to take the appropriate actions.
Now, Bongikhaya, that, of course, that voice note emerged last week already. And
Correct.
Since then, there has been a provincial working committee meeting of SANCO in the Western Cape over the weekend.
No, the meeting actually will be convened this coming weekend. You remember, only last time in our virtual meeting that we have discovered that this happened after receiving actually numerous calls and complaints about such a voice note. From that, we discussed it as a provincial working committee, and then we instituted an investigation on the matter. And therefore, this coming weekend, we will only receive a full report about what transpired, and then from there, we'll be able to take guidance as to what appropriate actions to take against that member.
So you've distanced yourself as an organization from the person. You have not named the person, despite issuing that statement, distancing yourself from the utterances. So what is going to happen from here on in?
In fact, let's say that we do treat members of the communities on an equal basis. We do not only interface with them based on their political affiliation and their membership with us. And therefore, we are distancing ourselves from such, and we're saying that any individual who actually break our constitution obviously will have to face internal disciplinary measures.
Let me ask this question. After an earlier conversation with the CEO of SASSA,
yes.
We spoke to Ms. Memela, who indicates, because I asked her the specific question as to who has authority to distribute food parcels. And by her explanation, these food parcels are supposed to be given to people directly. So why are members of SANCO sitting with food parcels and able to dictate where these food parcels can actually go or not?
SANCO Western Cape actually is a custodian of the community, as you understand. And therefore, we work in collaboration with all actually stakeholders, including individuals, private and public sector, and we are the ones that are supposed to be guiding, assisting, working in partnership with all authorities in ensuring that the direct recipients that are supposed to be receiving those food parcels do without hindering or without wanting to benefit from that process.
But by all indications, listening to those voice notes, and there were two parts to it, I listened to both, and it would seem as though your members actually have access to those food parcels and they are deciding who gets them or who doesn't get them.
No, let us say for now it's still an allegation which we are investigating, and we do not believe that SANCO members should be actually in control of the food parcels. It's authorities and government officials that deals with the delivery of food parcels. But what we are doing is to help to facilitate a conducive environment for them to be able to do that.
But you said you consider yourself custodians here in this instance. But looking at what's happening, and you keep pointing to the fact that it's an allegation, and we'll concede that, you are still investigating this particular matter. But how is this different from corruption and the abuse of power? Because, again, that voice note was very clear in terms of its instruction, and you do not distance yourself from the fact that this is indeed one of your members who is recorded on that voice note.
That's what is correct is that that is one of our members. However, the instruction to say that only SANCO members should benefit has never been part of our own instructions given to structures. We believe that nobody should use the name of SANCO for selfish ends or for personal gains. Hence, we are saying that on Saturday we will receive a full report in this regard and be able to take appropriate action.
So SANCO is supposed to be an organization of the community. You're supposed to be taking care of people's needs on the ground. But you have always been accused of your inability to actually separate yourself from the African National Congress. How are you managing that perception?
Well, we're saying this is still an allegation that has not been tested. Until we get a full report on weekend during our virtual meeting, it is only then that we will be able to take appropriate actions. You know that SANCO is fully against corruption, and anybody who is found to have participated in corrupt or wrongdoing will, of course, be taken into account and be brought to book.
Well, we have to leave it there, unfortunately, in a country where 31.5 million people are said to be living in poverty. These are some of the things that we can ill afford. But we'll wait. We'll wait for SANCO to finish their processes and come back and report back to us in terms of what they found. But thanks to Bongikhaya Qhama, who is the provincial chair of SANCO in the Western Cape, for talking to us about grave concerns following a leaked voice note giving orders not to include community members who are not affiliated to SANCO on the food parcels list. Whoa, time is